Hello everyone. Tonight for dinner we have my French onion chicken. So if you would like to see how I make this recipe, then go ahead and keep on watching. So first off, we are going to start by peeling and cutting about 5 big potatoes. And I get these potatoes from Costco. The reason I cook so many is because this meal actually lasts me and my husband about 3 days. We eat it for lunch and dinner, so this is gonna make quite a lot. And just a warning for this video, I am kind of all over the place because there is so much going on in this video, so I promise you everything will be put down below so you guys can understand it better. But it is a little bit confusing, so I'm gonna apologize right now. If you guys don't understand anything, I promise everything is below. And once you are done peeling the potatoes, then we are going to cut the potatoes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice them, and then I'm going to cut them into like 4s, if that makes sense. The reason I do this is because I like everything to cook evenly. Since we are going to boil them, we don't want any pieces that are bigger than the others, because then those are going to take a while to cook all the way through. And then there's going to be other pieces that are going to start to just mush apart. So you want them to be kind of uniformed in shape. And then we are going to run it under some hot water. We're going to fill up the water to where they pass the potatoes. And then we are going to put that on the stove on high. And we're just going to let those boil for about 30 minutes. And did I say rinse your potatoes? I don't think I did. Make sure you rinse your potatoes before you start cutting them after you've peeled them, because you don't want any dirt still left on them. Then we are going to move on to the gravy part of it. Now this is a sweet onion. Make sure you get a sweet onion, not a yellow onion, not a purple onion, a sweet onion. They're the big round yellow looking ones, but they're not a yellow. And the reason for this is because we're going to caramelize the onions, and the caramelization works way better with a sweet onion. So we're going to use the entire onion and put that into a pot and put it on the stove. Then we are going to add about 1/2 stick of butter. Sometimes I use a full stick depending on how much onion I use. And the reason I do that is because I like my meal to have a whole lot of onion in it. The more that it makes, the better, because I like to use it for extra days, and that way I don't have to use so much. But anyways, what you're going to do is you're going to cook down the butter and the onions. Now this is a very tedious, long, repetitive process, so bear with me when you guys are making this. It does take a while to caramelize onions, but what you're going to want to do is once the butter has melted, you just want to keep stirring it. The butter will start to pull out some of the moisture of the onions, and you're going to see all this liquid in there like this, and you're just going to keep cooking it down. You want the onions to start to brown, but you also want the onions to keep browning. So you're just gonna keep stirring. Don't add anything to it, just cook down the butter. Now, once the butter is almost gone and you start to see it turn a little bit brown, then you will add in beef stock to kind of get all the bottom parts of the onions and the stuff that's left on the pan up. And then that's going to add the brown to the onions, and it's going to kind of just add more of a color, and that's going to put more moisture in. We're not going to add any more butter after this point, only beef stock. So if you start to see your onions get a little too burnt, or like the moisture is not there anymore, then you're just going to keep adding beef stock. That was a mouthful, but you'll see what I'm talking about as you're watching the video. The moisture will go away, so the beef stock, the onions will absorb the beef stock. And then when the moisture goes away, then I'll just add a little bit more, and I'll just keep stirring. I don't add too much, so don't add don't fill up half of the pot. Just add just enough to cover the onions, and then we're gonna cook it down, and then we're gonna add more, and then we're gonna cook it down, and then we're gonna add more. Like I said, it is a very long process. These onions take about 30 minutes to cook, and it's a pain, but I promise you they're gonna be delicious. But we're just gonna keep repeating this process. So as you see, the onions have gotten very brown at this point, so they're starting to get caramelized. So we're just gonna keep up this process. Now the reason I am adding so much beef stock to this, and it's actually not that much, it's kind of like maybe a cup or two, is because I've been cooking these onions for about 30 minutes. So you pick and choose what kind of onions you like. If you like them like burnt caramelized, then you just keep going until it gets to that point. I like them kind of in the middle, and then I like some a little bit raw. So if you like them a little bit more with the texture to them, then you're gonna not do it as much. So that's up to your liking. And then I'm going to add, like I said, about 2 cups of beef stock, 2 to 3 cloves of garlic, and then about a tablespoon of thyme. And then you're going to let this simmer. Do not keep it boiling. Do not keep it on high. Simmer. And you're going to let all those herbs and garlics and all that, onions, melt together. You're going to let those cook down for about 10 minutes or so. And then you are going to start to add flour. Now, the flour is also to your liking. I like mine kind of like a thin gravy because I like to use so much of it. So if you like yours as like a thick gravy, wow, I can't talk. If you like yours as a thick gravy, then you will add more flour. If you don't like it as thick, then you will use less flour. And you're just gonna keep mixing this and cooking it down as well. Let it simmer, and it will start to get thick over time. And once you see the mixture turn into the type of gravy texture that you like, then you are going to add about a tablespoon of balsamic vinegar. And you are just going to let that simmer for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then you are going to turn it off and let it sit. You're going to let all those juices and herbs and stuff kind of just sit in the pot and kind of work together. It doesn't need to stay on the heat. Unless you want to keep it on the heat, then go ahead. And here I have a total of 2 chicken breasts that are into tenders, and I'm just gonna cook these up. All you do is you just simply throw them on the pan and season them with salt and pepper. That is it. You don't need anything else. This meal is already so flavorful, so you don't need anything besides salt and pepper. And since I have 2 chicken breasts worth of chicken, I'm gonna cook these in batches, so I'm going to start on the potatoes while these are cooking. And on to making the homemade mashed potatoes. If you guys want to use the instant stuff, you can. But usually what I do with just the normal mashed potatoes is I boil the potatoes down and then I will mash them. I will add milk, butter, and salt and pepper, and that goes to however much you like. So if you like them a little bit more thick, you add a little bit of milk. If you like them a little bit more creamy, then you add more milk, and then I add about a half a stick of butter and then salt and pepper to taste. And now that the mashed potatoes are done, we're gonna set those aside and finish cooking the rest of the chicken. And we're kind of doing this just so that everything stays hot. You can cook these in different orders if you don't mind heating them all up at different times. But yeah, we're just gonna go back to cooking the chicken. And you don't have to have the strips. You can use a normal chicken breast. You can use whatever you like with this. I haven't tried it with pork or anything like that, so it might be good with like pork chops, but you can always use just normal chicken breast, not the tenders. And I'm pretty sure chicken thighs would taste just as good in this meal. And once all the chicken is done, it's time to start plating. So you're gonna do a very good amount of potatoes, and I'm gonna spread them out because I'm gonna layer everything on top of the potatoes. And then we are going to do fried onions, the crispy fried onions that you put in like green bean casserole. We're going to do a layer of that. And then we are going to put down the chicken. And then we are going to put down some Swiss cheese. And then we are going to put down the caramelized onion mixture on top of it. And you can add as little or as much as you want of like the fried onions. This is my husband's plate, so I put more fried onions on top of the cheese. And then I put the caramelized mixture on top of it, and I make sure that that's hot. That way it melts the cheese all the way through. If you want to add more cheese to it, you can. But this is just the way that I made his meal. And I'm sorry that it's a little bit shaky. My husband was holding the camera, and so it's a tiny bit shaky. So I apologize for that, but I just wanted to show you guys the full effect. And this is my plate. I don't like cheese, so I'm not adding the Swiss cheese onto mine. And there we go, French onion chicken. This meal is so good. I can't even describe it, but it's so savory and it is so amazing. So if you guys try this dish, please let me know how you guys like it. I love it. And well, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please give me a very big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And I will be seeing you guys very, very soon in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.